Okay, so I just want to go over real quickly how a little bit more about placing graphics. So let's say this is an 8.5 by 11-inch layout, and I'm doing a layout, an advertisement, the succulent plants of San Francisco. And I have some images and such in here. Now, if I wanted to have an overall background color, what I would do would be I would actually begin with a shape. So I can come on over. Now, I want to also point out that you do have layers. And sometimes, just as layers have been worked with in Photoshop and such, sometimes it's easy to organize different objects onto different layers, especially if you find that things start interfering with one another. So I begin and I could even start with a gradient if I'd like to, but I'm going to start right with my rectangle tool, and I'm going to just draw a background color. So I have this, I draw it, there it is. Now I can come on in and put a color fill on to here. And I can get my different colors. I want to go for like a blue type of sky color, and there it is. I have my first object right in here. Now when I come into my layer, I can see that in a lot of ways it organizes different things onto different layers. If I wanted to lock that image, I could, just so it doesn't interfere with the different things that I do next. Next thing, if I wanted to create a text with the advertisement, I could grab my type tool and I could begin by just drawing a box for my type. Then I could type. I could start with my size. Maybe I want to say, I want this to be about 48 inches. I can come on in over here too and start looking at some different fonts. Try something different here. Okay, maybe I want to even take my second line of font and make it a little bit smaller. I could do that as well. Okay, so there we have it. Now, if I wanted to also look at centering this, I could do so, coming on up some of these different things that we're already familiar with, succulent plants, San Francisco. If I wanted to change the color of my font, I could do that as well. I come on in, grab my T for type, and highlight it. And I can change the color. Now I can come in right in here and look at my fill color. And just like I have with other things, I can come on in and choose a color. Now I probably want my color to be a little bit darker because I want it to stand out. Maybe I'll go for that. And there we have it. Now, we can also add a stroke to our type if we'd like to. I want to have my type selected. And we can click down into here, and we can even add a stroke if we choose. All right, I could come on in to my stroke in here, change the size of it, make it a little bit smaller if I choose to. Now again, too, coming in a little bit closer and seeing what we have. Okay, there we have it. All right, not so bad. It's moving along, moving along. All right, so now I want to come in and I wanted to speak a little bit more about placing objects in. You can see as you work in your layers how these different objects, they come all in. Now, another image that we want to look at are links. And what I want to show you is as we start putting in information, what happens to the links. As you place images and graphics onto an InDesign sheet, all of your images are linked. They are all linked. Now, when we place our images in, we have a couple different choices, and I'm going to bring an image in. What's really great about InDesign is we can place images in that have transparency around them. Now, how do you do that? Well, I have this image right here in Photoshop of a succulent plant, and I can see that it has this transparent background. Now, in order to place a transparent image in, I need to go in, File, Save for Web. I need to make sure that it's a PNG or a GIF. PNG 24s have a lot of really nice information on color, so I'd go with the PNG 24 over a GIF image. They're not as clear. Make sure you have transparency selected. So when I zoom it on in, I can see, oh, I still have that transparent grid, and we'll save it and then place it in. So now, coming back into InDesign, what will happen here? Well, first thing I could do one of two different things here. And the first thing would be if I come on in and I draw my picture frame. So I'm going to say, okay, I want to place one of these images right here. I draw the frame. I have the frame selected. As long as the frame is selected, I come on in, File, Place. I come on into my desktop. I have that image I just showed you saved with the transparency. All right, and I can see there it is. Now, this image is way bigger than the box that I've drawn. I can see on my links that here it is. It's placed in. So I can right-click this image, control-click. I want to get to fitting. And I'm going to say fit content proportionally. All right, and that's what happens. It fits it proportionally. Now I can come on in here and I want to flip this around and grab my black arrow, come on over and get this and move it over and place it in. It's super duper easy working with our black arrow in particular to start moving these shapes all around. So there we have it. There is our first box right here. I come on in and I can see that it's right here. Now, of course, I can see these little boxes that are drawn too. So they have those blue lines around them. It's showing you, okay, here's my graphic box. Here's my text box. And because they're on this layer, they're that color. Now I'm going to just create a new layer to show you. Now they're red. Now watch what happens if I was to come on in and draw another frame. All right, see how that one now is red? All right, so there we have it. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. Again, if I want to resize it, I need to grab my black arrow. And once I have this selected, I can come on in, File, Place. I'm going to find the succulent image one more time. And I am going to place it. There it is. Again, it's way too large. Now I showed you how to control click to get to fitting, right click to get to fitting. You can also go on up to Object and go to Fitting, and I'm going to say Fit Content Proportionally. And there we have it. Now I can actually, take this, change the size of this, flip this around to wherever I'd like it to be. And there we have it. All right, so I can continue to come on in here and move different things around very easily. Now I just want to show you one more thing here. If I was to place this image in 4 different ways. Now, these first 2 times we've drawn boxes for them, but we can also just come on in and say File, Place. And when I do that, I can come on in and I can choose this image and I can say Open. Now what happens is as I come over, I can see that I can just place it. All right, now, and I can just click and place it, and I get the full size of it right in here. Now, looks like I'm in layer 1. That one was created in layer 1, and that's totally fine. All right, maybe I even want to take this image, put this above here. Up now, that's behind here. It looks like, so I could come on up. Yep, it is. I could select this Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Maybe even on this image right in here, I could lower the opacity. All right, so that's always another option, coming in, lowering opacity on something to create a different image. So whatever else it is that I want to do now, I could add a stroke to this box as well for a little bit of effects. Coming on in, I can choose what kind of, you do Japanese dots. Again, I'm going to choose whatever color it is that I'd like for it to be. Hold on for 1 minute. Doesn't look like that much happened there. Up there we have it. Sometimes it's hard to say. And again, I need to remember too that on this image the opacity is real down, so it's kind of hard to see. But I could up the size of it so it's a little bit bigger. All right, there we have it. Now it's standing out a lot better. I want to go over one more thing. How do I save this? Let's say that I get this to a point, my layout to a point, and I want to send it out and I want to save it. How do I actually go about doing that? Now, another thing before I say all of that though, let's say I wanted to group, let's say I have these 2 shapes and I want them to travel together. Well, just like in Illustrator, you can group things. So I could click onto this and then click onto this one. So I have both of them selected. I come on up to Object, Group, and then what's great is as I move these 2 around, they'll move together just like in Illustrator. All right, maybe what I want to do too is I want to take these two objects and place them again up in the top. So I'd come on in, File, Place, using the same image, Open, Place. Again, it's very large. I actually like that one quite a bit. I like how that looks behind everything. Maybe I'd even come on in and lower the opacity, oopsie, of this image that I just placed in here. And then maybe I would just go with this. Who knows, right? Maybe even up it a little bit more. There's tons of possibilities. All right, but I want to go over with you now. What do you do when you're ready to save this? Because as we can see, all of these are linked. So you need to make sure that all of these images travel together. So what you need to do is you actually need to save it as a PDF file. So we come to File, and if you were going to send this to a printer, you'd go to File, Package. And when you package a file and send it to a printer, you actually send your type and you actually send your images. So you can see the summary. It says there's one font and it says that there's 4 links. Okay. Image. This is the information that's sent to the printer about the type. This is the information that's sent to the printer about the links. It had the information about the color, right? And you can even, if you were to hit package, okay, I'm just going to save it with untype. I just want to show you this package thing. You can see that you actually can put all of this information and instructions for the printer. Now, what I'm going to do is just show you if you were just going to send it to someone, you'd actually have to export it as a PDF. So you can come on in, File, Export. You can set your Adobe PDF presets, but you can just hit Export, export as a PDF. For this one, it's not interactive. You could change it as an Adobe PDF, and I'll hit Save, Export, and then it creates a PDF of that image. Looks like it's trying to open it, but okay, it didn't, but that's fine. It will save it wherever you saved it to. So there we have it. Thanks for listening.